We are live. So can we start talking now?
You can talk as much as you want.
All right.
Did you sort out your thing?
What are we calling this episode? Because are we pitching ideas? I have some ideas.
What are your ideas for the episode name?
So we could go the civilized route with something like the top 10 best paintings at the Dallas Museum of Art.
You know it's only 5, right?
It's 10 combined.
But we'll
you have 5 and I have 5, right?
That's true.
Did we do this right? Did I?
5 and 5, yeah.
5
that
and
is
5?
top 5. But it's 2
plus 2 honorable mentions.
So wait, who's on top? Am I the top 5 or are you the bottom 5?
In no specific order.
Okay.
The top 10 pieces of art, according to a brother and sister who don't go to the art museum much, and a girl who doesn't get out that much either.
Speak for yourself. I went to the DMA like 5-6 times in 1 year.
You're a social guy.
It's free also.
And I'm too poor to go. But yeah, so.
Oh, I forgot to get rid of the stupid stinker.
Move the cat.
I'm going to do that right now.
Are you able to pause the recording?
This is all staying.
Should I just stall?
Keep going.
I'm going to stall.
You can literally say nothing if you want. I'll just cut out the dead air.
Oh, no. Chica doesn't want to go.
I'm going to carry her in if she needs to. Bye, loser.
Oh.
Hope you never find your dad.
Spencer.
What? They can't hear it, probably. I don't know. Maybe they can.
Okay, you'll never guess what I just found.
You'll never guess these top 5 Disney princesses that we turned into Cadillacs.
Wait, what?
Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I haven't said that yet. And also, this episode, we're reviewing art from the DMA that we went on a recent trip to with my sister. This is Brianna.
Hello, everyone. I can't hear myself, so pardon the obscenity. I don't curse. I don't know why I said that. I'm his sister. You're my brother.
We've known each other for quite a while.
Yeah, pretty much my whole life. Most
of, the whole time on Earth.
All of my life and most of yours, which is unfair. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, how does that, what we spend a week, I don't know, how's that?
Because I'm saturated with love for you and you're like 98% saturated with love for me.
But how does our time apart differentiate from our different, also that's wrong. I love you, you're my sister.
No, but I've loved you since I was alive.
Oh, you mean before you were like existing.
as soon as I entered the world, I was like, cool, I have a brother. And you went about 1.5 years before you had to deal with. You were the only child
folks,
for a
1.5 years.
You know?
She will never let it be 2.
And for a while I thought I was gonna catch up too. And sometimes I do honestly forget that you and I will never be the same age because we're only 1 year and 3 months. So when it's a year, it's like 11 months and 30 days. I'm like, here it comes.
Here we go.
The final crossing.
I'll finally be his equal.
Our paths cross. Anyhow.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, so.
Keeping you down.
So we went to the art museum.
Oh, yeah. Remember that thing?
And we were each tasked with finding 5 pieces of art each. Well, we really only stuck to paintings. So it's not really, this is not an expansive list by any means. And we also only spent a couple of hours at the museum. And you could easily spend 2 days there. You could
spend the whole day there and you would only see half. Like the DMA is like, it's free, but it's by no means small.
No, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of donors.
Mm-hmm. You could see everything, but you'd have to be dashing through the whole museum.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
You could definitely sprint through the museum in probably 5 hours if you did the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if you really took your time, like an art student, and actually tried to look at most of everything, it would take you could definitely split it into 2 days, I think.
Easily.
So if anyone listening is not from Dallas and you're thinking about going to the museum, it's not a dinky little place.
Oh, no, it's legit.
It's huge. And it's also situated in a nice location because it's right across Clyde Warren Park. So you can make a day out of it. We didn't, but you could. We didn't. Anyway, so we mainly stuck to the new exhibits.
Yeah, we stuck to like this exhibit talking mostly about it was like expressionist paintings.
Yeah, I actually have the description here of the
Oh, go ahead then.
Of the exhibition here. So we went to one of the exhibits that we went to is called Slip Zone, a new look at post-war abstraction in the Americas and East Asia. And this is the description of it. It says, featuring works from the museum's collection, Slip Zone charts the significant innovations in painting, sculpture, and performance that shaped artistic production in the Americas and East Asia in the mid-20th century. The exhibition reevaluates the art historical legacy of the era to encompass the simultaneous and intersecting strands of international movements, including Japanese Gutai and Monoha, Korean, forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce that word, Korean Dansekwa, and Brazilian neo-concretism. It also highlights the integral influence of Black and women's artists working in abstraction in this period, complicating common understandings of the canonic abstract expressionism, minimalism, and color-filled movements in the United States. I don't know for how much of that you were conscious and listening, you or the listener.
It was a thrilling description.
It was thrilling because I even have already gone to the exhibit. I learned a lot from that description. So basically, to summarize the summary, it is a collection of groundbreaking and innovative art techniques, not exclusive to painting, because there were a few interactive sculptures and some loud sounds going on and buttons that need to be pressed that I volunteered for.
Yeah, I wish I had saved the name of that one interactive exhibit with the bell. That was really interesting.
Well, so in the summary, it does talk about the Gutai, the Japanese Gutai.
Oh, okay, yeah, Gutai.
Art collective.
No, that was just a collective. It wasn't the specific piece that I was.
Yeah, but you could probably type in Japanese Gutai DMA and find something.
Narrow it down, yeah.
I'm sure somebody wrote I went to this exhibit and rung a bell and scared the crap out of everybody. But anyway, I guess I'm talking about something that's not relevant anymore. But so we did see that, and I have a couple, as in more than one, favorite piece from that section. And interestingly enough, on the website you can see, if not all, most of the items in the exhibition, which raised my hopes, because I also found the Kier Collection of Islamic Art Gallery available on the website. But unfortunately, it only has 6 images, and all of them are for vases. So none of the art that I'm looking for is here. The
DMA does have pretty much all of its art cataloged online. Mm-hmm. Whenever I was doing notes and research on some of this stuff, I only spent an hour, half an hour looking up stuff. But the DMA has most, if not all, of the art that they have on display, cataloged on their online site. The problem is navigating their online site is a nightmare.
I don't have too much experience, but from what I can see on the mobile device, it's not looking so good. So
yeah, it's kind of a mess. Although I'm sure most of it will be centralized on that exhibit site.
But the good thing is that every piece we're going to talk about, we have the name and the artist, so you can just Google a picture.
Or look at whenever I throw them up on the YouTube video.
Oh, right, yeah, there's going to be
if you're on Spotify or SoundCloud, I guess just die.
I thought that was going to go more hopeful than that. I didn't realize.
No, I don't care about them.
What kind of podcast is this?
This is a podcast where we hate our listeners. They're losers.
I love listeners.
They're listening to me. Don't you guys know me?
So I'm really particularly excited about being on this podcast because not only is it my first podcast ever, but it's also my breakthrough for fame.
No, it is not.
Why are you laughing?
Because you had actual interactions with brands and people on your Instagram. You've had way more.
But that's all fake stuff. That's all girly stuff.
And this podcast is your real attempt. This is your breakthrough.
Yeah. Well, this is my breakthrough into the scientific community.
You stand on the shoulders of giants. This is a critically acclaimed podcast.
I was judged by all my art friends in college, so this is my getting back at them. How are you drinking and talking at the same time?
I'm not talking. I was just drinking. That's how.
I want to be able to drink too.
Well, then drink. Go ahead. I can start talking. You've been talking a lot.
Hold on. Let's all consider this next melody.
Oops, it's been so long since I recorded this that I forgot what I was supposed to put here.
I could hear that. Whatever.
Okay, sorry. Let me read.
Just-
Let me read a brief description of the Kier collection of Islamic art gallery, because I want to put a little bit of an emphasis on this. And I don't know if you have any pieces from your favorite collection.
I don't. We didn't take a single picture when we were in there.
I did.
Of the one or of something else?
No, something else.
Okay.
So do you want to pick the first art thing, or should I go?
No. Guest goes first.
All right, cool. Well, let me just transition into that by reading again, for the third time, I'm introducing the Kier collection of Islamic art gallery, which I believe is one of the newer exhibits, although it does say here that April 18th, 2017. So it's possible that this has been here for a while and I just haven't been inside. But it is ending December 31st, 2022. So
get on
you
it.
have a year. So if you're bored and have nothing to do, you can check this collection out. And I found pretty much every single piece in this collection to be amazing, because I had never really seen a lot of the things, and that I had never seen art on some of the topics that were covered. And I learned a lot about the divide between secular and religious, Islamic culture in the Middle East, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows that there's like secular parts all over the world, but to be able to compare art side to side between secular and religious backgrounds is incredible, and to be able to draw contrasts and also similarities. Anyway, I'm getting too analytic here, but basically it is the gallery presents a selection of masterworks from the Kier collection. It's a private collection that belong to, I guess, somebody with the last name Kier. Oh, it's regularly reinstalled with new special exhibitions of manuscripts, paintings, and textiles. And it features arts from Iran, India, and the Ottoman Turkish lands in the beginning of the modern era. Is your screensaver breaking?
Trying to turn on.
Here
it goes.
Oh, there it is. All right,
we're fine, folks.
So there's art of all sizes,
mm-hmm.
but I would like to begin. Thank you so much for letting me go first. With, I guess, do we need to go in order?
If you have an order, it doesn't really matter. It can be out of order. I made mine in order just because I kind of compared them all, but it doesn't really matter. You
know what? Okay. Then that means I need to start with my least favorite, right?
If you want. It can
with
be
the
out of
fifth
order.
one.
Yeah, number 5.
I don't want to start out of order because that'll confuse people. Okay. Number 5. For my...
Disregard the description then.
Yeah, just forget everything I literally just said. Okay, so my 5th favorite piece that I saw at the Dallas Museum of Art is called From Point. Mm-hmm. It's from the exhibit, the first exhibit that I mentioned, Slip Zone. And the title of the piece is called From Point. It was made in 1978. The artist is Lee Ufan, born in Hammongun, South Korea in 1936, and is active now in Kamakura, Japan. And it is let me just briefly describe it. It's a giant yellow canvas with, effectively, it's stamped, but it uses repetition to create motion. And it's one of the most eye-catching pieces, I would say, on display right now. But aside from that, I honestly was really interested in the backstory, which is, it's a story about in the 1960s how Liu Fan was, along with a group of other artists, responsible for a kind of creativity that was influenced by Japanese artists. And he actually wasn't a painter until the 1970s. So this is one of his early paintings. And they focused, him and some other artists that influenced him were focused on monochrome art. So this was his introduction to painting, and it's a very colorful canvas. And it's all about using Korean techniques on, thoughtfulness and patience and slow methodological strokes, basically, but stamps instead. So I don't know. I thought it stuck with me.
I wouldn't say it was a colorful canvas though. It was only like a pretty yellow canvas with
Well,
like the blue stamps on it. I mean, like I do agree with like the idea that like it presents motion, just because I saw it and my first thought was it kind of looked like train yards, you know?
No.
Or
What's a train yard?
Huh?
What's a train yard?
Like not train, like like subway lines.
Yeah.
And like even the fact the stamps, it kind of just gave me an evocative feeling of like this feels like trains to me. Like they felt like the ticket of a stamp ticket of a train ticket.
Yeah.
And just the subway line look of it. Like it just felt very much. It just it felt like motion, forward motion, or something like that.
Well, to touch on your earlier point, I think the correct word that I was actually looking for was high contrast, because it's blue and yellow.
Very high contrast.
So yeah, you're right. It's not very colorful.
It is you were right. It is very eye-catching. I just want to mark on that. Like it's a very big canvas, and like
and you wouldn't look at it and think, oh, that guy really took his time stamping those out. I mean, I would. It looks like something that you do with your markers, and when you're you're in elementary school and you just start stamping around. But I mean, it's huge, and also it's beautiful. So clearly, it took a while.
It feels very purposeful, almost machine-like the way they're all stamped. But like, it is just like one person made. They just did a lot. They took a long time and there's not too much to read into it for me. I think it's just a very interesting.
That's
and very
fine.
Cool.
Let's hear yours,
painting.
Mister. I don't read into art.
Well, no, I mean, like, let me read
into yours.
Are you reading anything into it? Like, besides, I mean, it doesn't have.
I just think it looks nice.
It does, yeah.
And I like what it stands for. Yeah, it's in an exhibition with groundbreaking artists, and I respect that.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, let me just. I don't know what the opposite of preface is, but
Sufface.
Yeah, let me just wait. That's not. You can't use that as a word, can you?
SUFFASACE.
I want to suffice this with.
I don't remember what the definition of it is. It's kind of like suffix.
Regardless,
like prefix and suffix.
I want to. Okay, we're gonna use that as a word potentially now. I want to suffice that with saying that my number 5 was purely because I like the way it looked. Okay.
Hey, that's all. That's more than enough.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 5. It was part of the more European Renaissance section. I don't remember what that section was called, but it was definitely European art.
European art.
Yeah, and it was the shepherd Faustulus bringing Romulus and Remus back to his wife, Remus to his wife. Yeah, this one was by.
Oh! I know what you're talking about. I actually looked at that painting in passing.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that this was by Nicholas Mignard, made 1606 to 1608, whatever, and it's oil on canvas. Oh no, Nicholas Mignard lived from these. This is a problem. Like something I discovered while looking at these again. The DMA for some reason has like different formatting depending on what section of the museum you're in. Like the exhibitionist paintings, like not exhibitionist, the very much the wrong word. The expressionist paintings from Slip Zone.
Slip
Slide.
Slip and Slide.
Slip Zone.
Episode 1.
From Slip Zone. They all had like the title of the art and then like the year and all that, what material it used, and then the artist's name. And here it's like for the European art, it's artist's name, and then like the style or
looks totally different.
Yeah,
they also used italics in that.
Yeah, they use multiple different fonts in this one as opposed to just the Slip Zone, which is just one font.
Yeah,
it was really jarring trying to like look at this again. Anyway,
we'll be forgiving.
I'm not. I hate this. Just stick to one sort of format. Whatever. This was made in 1654, oil on canvas, and this is like, I didn't really care much for the history behind it or whatever, or behind the artist. I did look some stuff into it, but I just picked it because like, it's such a typical, like French post-Renaissance painting, or almost like Italian, I guess. Whatever. Point is, it has like this really strong hue of blue across like the scarves that it calls your attention as soon as you come into the room. It's such a pretty normal palette painting of like people in like a stable as like the shepherd is delivering Romulus and Remus back to the parents, but like the blue scarves and the drapery that they have just adds so much pop to the scene that like
there's a lot of pop.
It demands your attention, and I just like, I'm not even super big into this style of painting, but like that alone made me just like this painting a lot. And I looked into it a little bit just before this podcast, just for some funsies. And Romulus and Remus, this is not like they have quite a history in just art in general. People like to paint them, and like those Animal Crossing fans of you listening to this podcast and might be sitting across from me might know Romulus and Remus from their other artistic credit, which is the wolf mother with the babies suckling on the teats.
Is that not a real sculpture?
That's a real sculpture.
Oh,
and that's what they're most well known for, I think. Like
the name sounded familiar, but I didn't want to venture to say, hey, is this on the Animal Crossing?
Hey,
Horizons?
Yeah. Which,
by the way, add me.
Don't give your ad. Just say add me.
I have my. I also have my zip code and address ready
for
for
your
anyone.
Social Security as well.
Yeah.
The lore, the tale of Romulus and Remus is that they were like just two kids, and they got like lost in the woods or kidnapped. I forget exactly what the beginning of the story is, but essentially they got like raised and nurtured by this wolf, by the she wolf, and then the shepherd Faustulus found them and then brought them back.
So is the painting of them
the
coming
painting
into
is the ending in the end of the fable. Well, not the end of the fable. The end of the fable ends with them becoming the next rulers of Rome, or they established Rome. So it's like I
love a happy ending.
It's a creationist story in a sense for Rome itself, but none of that is really that important to this painting. I mean, it is in a sense. It's supposed to create this like grand showing of the humanity and kindness of the shepherd giving these babies to the mother, but I don't care about any of that. I just really think the blue looks really pretty.
Oh, well, I was actually going to say, no, I think there's a trend so far in which we're both really admiring the backstory of these paintings, but I guess not.
Yeah, I didn't come at this with that appreciation to it. I just liked it. But I did that might change a little bit for more of the other paintings that we go down the road with. But this is just my number 5.
All right,
I just came at it because I thought it looked cool, and it turns out it has some fun history.
Okay, so my number 4 is called, it's actually located right next to the previous painting, geographically in the museum. This one is called, I'm going to pronounce it the way that I think it's supposed to be pronounced, Écriture number 43 through 73.
Oh, yes.
Do you have any idea what that one is?
Yeah, I know. I think isn't it escriture?
No, it's actually Écriture.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I misread that. 1973
by Park Seo-bo. Born in Yecheon, South Korea, 1931, and active in Seoul. Currently. It's Seoul? Yeah.
Oh, Seoul.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm not looking at it.
It's kind of like São Paulo in Brazil.
Why can't we just have like 2 names for things?
Is that racist?
No, to want simplicity and purity one race in this world.
You sound like the Germans.
Hey. We have too many skin colors.
Okay, not the Germans now, but okay, you know what I mean. Okay, pencil and oil on canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Seems simple enough. This one I specifically chose because the backstory was so freaking cool. All right, I mean it's eye-catching. You can't deny that because you actually were thinking about including this one in your list.
Yeah, no, I did.
You include this one?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I almost did, but like just looking at it, it definitely caught our attention. Like you were drawn to it as second as we saw it.
Actually, I was drawn to it because you were drawn to it.
Oh yeah.
Let's point our fingers at each other.
Okay.
But so this one has a short summary, so I'm gonna read it.
Hey, go ahead.
The artist was an early proponent of abstraction in reaction to the state-supported academic painting in post-war South Korea. So as you can imagine, he's basically like I don't want to do what the system is telling me to do. I'm going to practice painting outside the lines, basically. Mm-hmm. Pun intended. When describing his use of repetition, Park called himself an artist who refuses the image. He developed a method of manipulating gesso or paint while the surface was still wet. In his early écriture works from the early 1970s, the artist used a pencil or stylus to make repetitive marks, demonstrating a disinterest in painting's supposed ability to convey meaning. And looking at the painting, and it just kind of looks like a tattered piece of paper with a bunch of pencil lines all over it. Mm-hmm. Is how I would describe it.
It looks like it looks like somebody practicing cursive.
Yeah, but really skinny cursive.
Yeah, and really
and only the letter J.
Like they were doing it frantically.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like what it stands for, and I like that he started off with just a brown looking canvas. I'm sure there's a lot of effort to make it that color brown, but other than that, it's just literally somebody took a pencil and just scratched it all up. You check it out. I think you'll like it.
It's a very cool painting. Again, one that like a lot of these paintings that we're going to talk about, they kind of have to be seen because a lot of the impact of them is from just seeing. I'm hoping it's safe.
No, it's there, right?
It's the audio engine has been stopped because the system is undershot.
Hello.
All right, my stupid computer died. We lost a little bit of audio, but we got most of it back.
But that's what these tests are for.
That's what these tests are for. Nice. The Grinch reference.
Grinch reference.
Art forward movie.
2009.
Loved within the art critic area. I'm going to keep just
know
moving the mouse.
What year that came out. That's a good idea. Just keep moving the mouse.
Yeah. Anyways, you were saying, or I was saying, impact of the painting, you can real life, whatever. Back to you.
I mean, I think that's all I had to say. So you can just move on to your number 4 now.
It's a cool painting. All right, what was my number 4? My number 4. Okay, this one's fun. You might have this one on your. We'll see. My number 4 was Apocalypsis by Raquel Forner.
Not on my list at all. No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I was kind of surprised.
No, I was like, I'm gonna let him do his thing.
Oh, you let me have this one?
I didn't particularly like it.
All right, fair.
But do you have a picture of it?
I do, but like.
Oh, I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great painting.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, sorry. We just need to. I don't have when the painting was made. Oh no, 1955. There we go. The top of the thing was just talking about when they inherited the painting, which I don't care about. Anyways, yeah, Apocalypsis, 1955 by Raquel Forner, oil and composition board. This is one where the history kind of impacts it a bit, but just looking at the painting itself, it already just attracts so much attention. It's a Picasso-esque piece. They were.
Do you have the description?
I do.
It'll tell you everything you need to know about Picasso in that description.
All right. I guess I'll just take a second to read it.
We bring you
Okay.
this break.
I just gave it a quick.
While he reads.
And that's all just going to be cut out.
Oh.
I mean, maybe I'll keep that, but like.
No, don't.
I was just going to.
Take it out.
I cut out blank spaces.
Okay.
So it's a very like Picasso-esque painting, like his later works. She was just inspired by a lot of like the surrealist movement, but at the time, people were using surrealism to just depict what they were dreaming about, and she didn't want to do that. She wanted to be more grounded with her art and show what was more real life, and so she used it to depict like some of the rebellious uprisings that were happening in her time.
Who's the artist?
Buenos Aires, Raquel Forner. Yeah, no, it's kind of compared to Guernica, which is like Picasso depicting like the bombing, really bad bombing in World War II. I don't remember the exact history of it. Regardless, it's a very famous and influential painting that Picasso did, and this is kind of like a direct comparison. But like this is a lot more colorful than Guernica. Guernica is like very somber and.
If you haven't seen Guernica, look it up because it's one of the most. I mean, it's not even one of the most famous paintings in the world, but once you've seen it, you don't forget it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of Picasso's later works. This is one of his most popular of his later works. One. And
you do see a similarity right away.
Oh yeah, like this has like the Guernica has like this bull in the middle of it. This one has like a wolf that's over the people, and just the way that Raquel plays with like shadows and like people's faces in it, you definitely see the Picasso influence. But this feels like it is enough of a difference that it feels like its own thing. Like there's a lot of sharp edges and makes it feel a lot more violent, even though it's a lot more of a colorful painting. Like it's just the colors make it nice to look at, but like the grayscale wolf in the center with all these like jagged edges and like really creepy mouth and eyes, just kind of it doesn't feel as somber as Guernica, but it feels a lot more violent.
I would say that it kind of puts it out on a plate clearly without having to guess. It's kind of this painting I feel like kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of Guernica, because I often find Picasso's work sometimes unintelligible. Like
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
really make anything out. And in this one, it's kind of like that at first, but the more you look at it, the more obvious everything seems. And then you kind of put together the picture like a puzzle.
Yeah. Like this one isn't depicting the actual act, but you can tell like this big wolf is eating people, and like, you know, that probably represents something. And in this case, it represents like the rebellions of Buenos Aires at the time. Like Guernica has like a lot of imagery. Apocalypsis is a lot more straightforward, but still very. I can see why this was such like a groundbreaking technique at the time, because like I said, surrealism was mostly just about like what people were interpreting out of their dreams and putting that on paper or canvas rather. This was a lot more grounded, well, even if it was still pretty metaphorical. And it's part of me likes it a lot because of the timing. This is like Hispanic Heritage Month, and I just like the idea of this Picasso-esque female painter depicting like historical revolutions like this, you know. It's also just a very cool painting. Like Guernica, like you said, it's a very hard to dissect. But this one, even if you don't like dissect it, I think I don't know how most people will react to this type of surrealism, but I do think it's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Yeah,
mainly because
I
of
would
the
say
colors.
so. To a Picasso, definitely.
Yeah.
We're on number 3, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Is this number 3, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is your number 3.
Okay, so for my number 3, I picked one that we both looked at the same time. So hopefully it's not also on your list.
I kind of hope it does. That'd be fun if we both talked about.
It's by this painting was in the European exhibit as well, and it has only. Why are you smiling at me?
Because I'm like, the
Are you
more you
hopeful?
talk about this,
Are
the
you
more I'm like,
hopeful?
did we pick the same painting?
I hope so. It's
Okay.
called Tired.
Okay, no, we didn't.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Yeah, Tired.
Yeah.
Which is a great name because as soon as you see the painting, you understand why it's called Tired.
Oh yeah, it encapsulates that emotion quite
So
well.
pause now and look it up.
Look it up. No, just look at the video.
Right. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
Yes.
Open your eyes.
Or if you're
Open your
if you're driving, look it up
eyes
later.
and say,
If you're listening to this in your
eyes
car,
are open
how dare you?
when it's cold.
If you're listening to this while working, stop your
outside
job. Look this up immediately.
and
It's very
I'll be
important.
in
Dork.
May.
Okay. What were you singing?
I was singing the background music that
To
you,
what?
that
What
you
was
needed.
I didn't hear what you were saying.
Real
What were the
ones
lyrics?
will know.
I didn't even. Okay, whatever.
I'll play it for you later.
Cool.
So this is by, listen, as much as I don't love the multitude of exhibits that are available in the DMA, and like, I'm sorry, I worded that weird. I don't like the fact that there are so many exhibits and so many artists in the DMA, and I chose even a single one from the European exhibit. I'll just be honest with you. I just think that the world is oversaturated with love for European art.
Oh yeah.
And there's so much more art in the world that needs to have its own wing. Okay.
I do love like landscapes and like post-Renaissance and like evangelical and non-secular things in art, but they definitely are oversaturated and a little overrated.
Because think about it. Why do we tap so much and feed so much into that love for European art? It's not like, right? So the Medici, I get it. I get that there were art conglomerates as far back as time goes in Europe, but so were there in Central America and in Africa. But it's just different kinds of art. And
yeah, I think at that point it's more of a issue of establishment as to where these sort of like conglomerates began, as to rather where the appreciation should be.
But I don't think it's a time issue is what I'm saying. I don't think that art has been appreciated for longer in Europe.
No, I'm not saying.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's been appreciated longer. I'm just saying that there were bigger forces that were appreciating their own art in Europe than there were in Central America.
Well, I think art was seen as like a classist structure. It has always been a classist structure, because if you could afford to get a bust of your head,
yeah,
you would do so. Or
Well,
a
yeah.
painting of your cousin Frederick riding a horse, you would do so.
Yeah, I mean,
but
a lot
art
of,
was a part of Mayan culture regardless of class. You know what I mean?
well, art was a part of every culture, but like what a lot of museums have is just like commissions that like rich families and rich people.
You know
just
what? That's
made.
true. They are a lot of them. A lot of art museums are based off of private collections.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, we could talk about that for a whole nother episode, the politics of art, but that's not what this episode's about. So I'm just here to state my opinion that
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy European art as much as I used to once I realized how oversaturated that field is.
I still enjoy it. I just think it's enjoyed enough, and yeah, it's kind of like lame to. It's almost lame to kind of like appreciate.
Yeah, so I just want to skip right over this one as fast as possible. But I just liked it because it was unique, and I felt like it gave more of a body to that European art section than normally is seen, because there's not a lot of paintings like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I found it to be kind of funny, to be honest, and I don't know if that was the intention, but basically, Ramon Casas painted Tired in about 1895, 1900, so about at the turn of the 20th century. He painted Tired, oil on canvas, blah, blah, blah. It's part of a suite of paintings which depict the same unnamed woman, because there's less of a focus on actual identity of the person and more of a focus on like the daily routines of a woman around that time, which I kind of like, because she's tired, I'm tired, we're all connected, and that's all I have to say about this. Oh, one last thing. And also, I love Pablo Picasso, and I understand that he's a European painter. Isn't he a European painter? I don't know why for a second I was like, Picasso, must be American, the name. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to confirm that. But the only other thing I wanted to say was that the description does say he worked in cahoots in the same group, in the same circles as Picasso, which I thought kind of gave him some. All right, I'll admit it. It helped secure his spot on my list. Really? I'll say it. Yeah, I like Picasso.
Picasso clout.
I like Picasso.
Picasso's cool. We went
all
to
right.
his museum one time.
What's your number 3?
Just going off of our unadulterated hate for everything European and classical. A mountain landscape with an approaching storm.
Great painting.
That's my number 3. You remember that one? Or are you just saying?
Oh yeah, it was like if you've ever had a tour at the Dallas Museum of Art, you will stop at this painting.
Oh yeah.
Like the tour guide will force you to look at the. I don't. You're showing me the picture on your phone. I don't need you to do it. I can literally tell you about the 3 frames in the picture and how the woman is like pulling the animal because it's slow. And there's a storm coming.
Mm-hmm.
And there's boats in the distance, and then the sun ray in the distance with the promise of like.
There's like 3 different types of lighting in this painting.
Yeah,
there's
it's
like
just
dark.
there's like 3 scenes. That's like a movie.
Yeah, there's like the dark clouds in the middle and like the giant mountain off in the distance and the castle.
It's a huge
and
painting.
It's big. I like it a lot. I think that's the main thing that really attracts me to it. It's well, hold on, let me get the basic things down first. 1775, oil on canvas by Claude Joseph Vernet. All right. I don't care about the history behind it. It just looks really cool. It has like I said, 3 different types of lighting where it's like the central is just very. It kind of focuses on these people in the front because they're very detailed, but they're just surrounded by all this nature and like grandeur, and like, but they're like, because of the storm that's approaching from the dark clouds in the top left, like it, like you can see the urgency of them, but like they are clearly in an urgent situation, but it doesn't feel like the nature surrounding them doesn't look like it. It looks very beautiful and serene. Like they have like the I don't know if it's a morning sun, it's like a sunsetting sun rays coming in from like the left, and then like on the right there's like the waterfall and like the blue skies. It's like there's so much to look at in this painting. It feels like theater. It's very theatrical in the way it's presenting everything. Yeah. It's a very beautiful backdrop.
It does tell a story. Absolutely does tell a story.
Yeah, I never even really paid that much attention to the people. I'm surprised you managed to remember the lady with the pulling the mule like that.
Yep.
And then there's the 2 birds. Like the thing that always attracts me is these 2 birds kind of like in the center left that are like kind of soaring away, like kind of towards the storm, but like away from the people. It kind of, there's just a lot to like internalize and maybe even interpret from this painting. You know, it's just very beautiful. It's one of those that like, it's kind of like the icebergs where I would have this framed. I wouldn't have this one personally framed, honestly. I would earlier have the icebergs.
If you did, I mean, you'd have to have a whole wall, because if you scaled that thing down, you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's such like
If anyone has a poster of this hanging in the room, please let me see it. I want to know what it looks like.
It's so it demands attention, and it has so much detail. It would be doing it injustice if you didn't have anything. If you just had like I guess you could have a print of it and you can just look at that every now and then. But yeah, no, it's a very It's a very cool painting. Like, it's one of the ones where it kind of brings me back to like the Renaissance-esque, classicalist European type of art, where it's like, yeah, a lot of it was just kind of like the church commissioning a bunch of artists to do their dorky fan art of Jesus. But sometimes you get some really beautiful, serene pieces like this, where it's like, yeah, you know, there is some really cool stuff out there besides just, you know, studies and busts of, you know, rich people with the same boring face. Anyways, that's my number 3.
That was great.
Thank you.
So for my number 2,
oh boy, we're gonna.
I am particularly excited about this piece, and honestly, this would probably be my number 1, but I feel like my number 1 is going to a piece of art that the meaning is more important. I think. Well, that's arguable. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my number 2,
mm-hmm.
and this one has no description. So lucky you, you don't have to listen to me talk that long.
Yeah, who wants to get on a podcast and listen to people talk?
So it looks like this is going to be the only piece in our episode today from the Islamic art exhibition, even though that's one of the 3 that we went to. But it's called simply Lady Smoking a Hookah.
Oh, yeah.
Unsure about the date that it was made, about 1820, which just blew my mind because that means we've been smoking hookah for over 200 years.
We've been smoking hookah for a long time.
If you look at this, listen, I want you to look it up. And I don't know if this is the official name. I'm assuming it is. Lady Smoking a Hookah. It looks exactly like the hookahs we smoke nowadays. So I'm just wondering, what did they used to make them out of back then? And what was the production for hookahs like back then? It looks exactly the same as the ones we have now. Are you looking at it?
I'm trying to. I mean, Lady Smoking a Hookah, I just got some very generic.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Sorry. Let me give you the name of the artist. Is there even a name of the artist? No, it didn't say.
I know the painting. I'll just put it in the podcast later.
Okay, so this is actually, you know the name of the painting you said? Sorry.
No, I remember the painting.
A Lady Smoking a Hookah around 1820 from Kangra, Himachal Pradesh in northern India. And it consists of gold and colors on paper. Now, this is by far one of, I think, the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever seen. It's super small, so you'll be fortunate to look at it online because you probably get a bigger view of it.
It's like a postcard.
Yeah, it literally looks like, and I love postcards, so that's probably that probably has a lot to do with them. I don't collect them, but I do. I did keep all the ones you sent to me in college. I have them.
Nice.
The one thing you will be missing out on is the fact that this has gold foil on it that is exquisite. I knelt down on the ground on my knees in the Dallas Museum of Art so that I could get an appropriately glimmering angle that like actually shined more than you'd get if you just kind of moved your head around. It's beautiful.
A lot of the pieces in the Islamic art, especially this one, are like very big reasons as to why it's important to see these in person.
Luxurious.
Because like the gold foil adds such a luxurious and like otherworldly and shiny and
rich. Yeah,
it just adds another element that it would be very hard, if at all, to capture that gleam that you get from seeing the gold foil in person. Golden boy. Real ones. So
yeah, I really enjoyed this piece. It was along a wall of other pieces that I really enjoyed, and I would love to give honorable mentions to all of them, but I did not remember that we were supposed to be taking pictures of the art as I was walking by. So I didn't take pictures of them, but I did take pictures of this one, and I went through the trouble of trying to find the name of it. And it's got everything that I like. It's got
a pretty lady. It's got drugs.
It's got 2 pretty ladies.
Oh, it's got
a foreground, a middle ground, and a background, which was, I don't know if you know this about Islamic art at the time, not common.
I don't know if you guys knew this, but like
they did not. It said it in the exhibition. Okay, no, yeah, don't make me sound like
common knowledge.
Okay, but I'm just I was talking to you.
I don't know if you know about it.
All right, so my point was, let me teach you something. Okay, I learned, and I'm gonna teach you that medieval Islamic art did not. Well, this is hardly medieval. This is the 1800s, but Islamic art. Modern/old Islamic art didn't really focus on different grounds. You know, there wasn't a foreground, background, and middle ground. there was only a 2D stage where everything was happening. And in the description of these art pieces, like in the overview of the collection in certain parts of the room, it would explain how as time progresses, they started to develop this use of foreground, middle ground, and background to add depth, which wasn't something that they were used to.
If I recall correctly, wasn't it like they were... It was because like at the time they were integrating more with like Europeans and like they adopted that technology from them.
Yeah.
Or
I think that's true. Yeah. I was going to say something about that, but I wasn't sure what country.
It just said European. I don't think it specified because it was like it was an overall like European thing that they were, you know.
It's just the attention to detail on this thing is insane, and I could go on, but there's no description, so I'm just going to leave it at that. That's my number 2. Lady smoking a hookah.
What else do you need? It's a very, like I said, go see it in person. The gold foil, you kind of have to kneel down at or look at it from a weird angle.
You almost didn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't believe you.
I had to force
I did not believe you at first, and then I saw that and I was like, okay, no, yeah, you can.
It looks much better from like
because
2 feet underneath it.
You would not believe how much gold is on this thing. It's hard to tell just from first impression how much gold there is. But there's a lot, and it's very it changes the dimension of the photo when you look at it. All
right, let's see your number 2.
Okay, my spicy number 2.
I'm excited.
You shouldn't be.
All right.
Okay, maybe it should be. This one is called Untitled - Whirlpool.
Uh-oh.
And do you remember this one?
I think I do, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to show you this close-up from one side because I don't have
the
the full photo.
Show me. Yeah, that's actually the... Funnily enough, that's actually the piece of art that is used as the like background / main image for the exhibition. So like if you go online and you look up the exhibition, this is the picture that they'll show you. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what to call that. I'm sure there's like a really helpful and obvious word.
Showpiece?
Is that what they say?
There's a couple of things.
It's the showpiece. Sure. That's the showpiece. So congrats. You picked...
I picked the one everyone likes.
I wouldn't say that, but I did take a picture and post it on my Instagram. So it's sick. It looks like a tree trunk on acid.
It looks so cool. You were like alarmed by it.
Don't say that.
No, you were.
As a connoisseur, I'm not alarmed by anything.
Listen, art is all about what
fear
pieces.
Oh,
what pieces? Art is all about different pieces of art. I don't know how to word this properly. We've had drinks.
We haven't. I never.
It's all about the emotions.
Stuff.
It's all about the emotions that the painting gives you. That's what art is. It's literally just what you feel from it. It doesn't have to be very deep. It just has to be what you feel from it. There's no way this could have any sort of political or geopolitical or religious connotation unless you pull something from it. It's literally just squiggle. It's just literally just circles of color.
If I were to throw something at you, would you react?
Would I react?
Yeah.
Are you gonna say that's art if I react?
Just answer the question.
Back to the piece. That's okay. You know what? Yes, that is art.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm moving forward 2 steps.
Oh, I pretend like the microphone is a person right there. Did you hear that?
No, actually, I didn't. It's kind of surprising.
All right. You guys okay?
See, that's what's cool about the mic stands. We
have new mic stands, ladies and gents.
Yeah, I didn't recall them talk about that at the beginning of the podcast. I have new tech. Can you hear it? It sounds way better than before, doesn't it? We got microphones. I'm going to give you a haircut.
ASMR. Do you like to wear hats?
I'm going to put your nose inside of a blender.
I like to wear hats on Sunday. I like to wear hats on Monday. I like to wear hats on Tuesday. I don't like to wear hats on Wednesday.
Don't you ever talk to me. I want to eat you. Don't you?
What? I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot wait until I can hear that. And I want to know. Can we talk about what you're gonna put on the screen for the YouTube version? Because that's.
Oh no! Now I have to put something there.
Like I want a Mr. Potato Head on the screen when that's happening. I like to wear hats.
Oh no! It's gonna be Okay, no, it is gonna be Mr. Potato Head. I was gonna say it's gonna be Mr. Sausage Head or whatever that thing was.
What?
From that one stupid sausage making man video.
No.
Whatever. Anyways, I like this art. No, I was saying specifically you found it disturbing because I pointed out like the black circle at the top and I was like, it kind of reminds me of an evil eye. And you were like, oh, no. Because it looks scary now. Anyways. Brianna was right.
I think it looks like a tree.
You didn't mention it at the time, but you're right. It does look like a tree. It has different like rings, and maybe that's what they were
I
going
definitely
for.
thought it at the time, but I thought that's way too obvious, and if I say that, I'm gonna get a hit in the head. So
I mean, looking at it now, I do see that,
right?
and I do get that. But at the time, I didn't see that. I just saw like different waves of.
Yeah.
Like,
also,
I just saw pools of color.
Super textured in person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if your camera picks that up, and if you forgot, but when you're in person, you can literally see each layer of paint like poured in, and also the bubbles and the air and the fish and the crackers and the beef and
like you can also like
pasta sauces.
That's the thing. You can see like different brush strokes.
Yeah.
And like.
But he poured. It wasn't brush strokes. He was pouring. Okay. He was pouring paint. I didn't mean to correct you there, but
no, you're fine. I was just kind of talking out of my ass there. This didn't have brush
gotcha.
strokes. But I did
in 4K.
I did manage to I will show this right now. I did capture a zoomed in portion of the painting just to show the texture, and you can definitely see the air bubbles you were talking about. If you have trypophobia, look away from the screen right now.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was saying. I don't like this, and I don't think I even have trypophobia, but that one tested me.
It's because it's gross. Like even if you don't have the fear, holes are just kind of gross. When
I feel validated.
Close like that.
No. Stuff can go in there.
Yeah, you what kind of stuff?
Why are you laughing? I thought we were on the same page.
No, because you just the way you said, like that's what's stuff can be inside that thing.
Well, am I wrong?
Like coins, or
you're adding things to
or
my
sand.
Story. Okay.
Stuff can be inside there. Like it's just stuff general. That's what my mind goes to. I don't know what kind of scary things you're thinking, but like you just say stuff. That's what I think. Just random junk. Whatever. I haven't even talked about why I like the painting yet. The colors are really cool. Okay. It's in this black void area where the edges are kind of very well contained for how widespread this thing is.
And you didn't say which exhibit it's in, but this is in the why did I forget the name? The New World.
The Slip and Slide.
The Slip and Slide exhibit.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The Slip Zone exhibit.
The Slip Zone.
Yes. 1965 by Shirozo Shizumoto. Oil on canvas. Forgot to mention all of that. We got into more serious
We're telling
topics.
the story from back to front today.
Whatever. This is number 2. This is kind of one of those paintings where it's like people like to look at art or certain modern art and be like, oh, my kid could have done that. I could have done that. And it's just like, yeah, you could have, but you didn't. And that's the thing.
I don't even like that saying, but I agree with that.
It's a very stupid argument because like it kind of devalues the whole point. It's like art isn't about impressive technique. It's about like sometimes it's about like breaking expectations. And this is something that like is very simple. It's just art poured onto a canvas, but just the way it's done and just the impression and like impact it has as soon as you see it, like it's very cool. It's a very cool painting. I just love the colors. I just love the textures. I just love the rings. I love a lot of stuff about it. It gives a very ominous vibe. Just the holes and like the little evil eye, I say, at the very top of the painting. It's a very visceral painting.
It is.
Like there's nothing. It's not saying anything. It's not doing anything. It's just circles. But like just the way all the colors all play together. It's a very intense painting.
It's a cacophony of colors.
That's a good word for it.
I didn't even think about that beforehand. I just said it. It just came out of me like
Look
that.
how smart you are.
Cacophony of colors. I'll say it again.
That's your Brown degree talking.
Yes, it is. Don't tell them where I went to school. They'll find me.
They'll find you.
I graduated already.
And
suckers.
Yeah, now she's in a different state, but they'll still find her.
You don't know where I am. Wait, we were
you were
No! Okay. Moving on.
Okay, do you want to go into your number one, or you want to do honorable mentions before or after?
You know what? I'll do an honorable mention first. I forgot. Yeah, that's a great way to wrap it up. All right, an honorable mention. My honorable mention. I deliberated for a minute while you were talking, and I changed my honorable mention to my number one. That's how much I liked it.
Wow.
So I'm putting my number one into the what is it? Honorable mention. The nominal mention.
You're bumping it down.
I'm bumping it. It's not down. It's separate.
Well, it's an honorable mention.
That's
so
okay. You can define your honorable mention by how you want to honorably mention it, but I'm honorably mentioning mine.
Okay.
Unlike you, you're dishonorable.
I'm honorably mentioning it, but it wasn't good enough to be on my number one. I would say that's a step.
The other ones don't have any honor. This one does.
So what? The other ones suck?
Just listen to what I have to say, okay?
Okay.
So we both saw this piece, and I think I lingered on it a little bit more than you did. But
I turned away from it. I didn't want to look at it.
You didn't even know what it is.
Shut up.
It's called Too Much, Not Enough, which is exactly how I feel in this moment. That was a joke.
That was a good joke. Thanks for telling
You
me
were
it was.
thinking. You had your thinking
I'm-
face on, and you
I'm-
didn't appreciate my
I'm
joke.
trying to remember what this painting was or what the
Okay,
piece
so
was.
it's they got it in a really cool location. I think that actually helped a lot with my reaction to it and my perception of the painting. So this is actually the newest piece of art that I've ever seen at the DMA, 2020.
Oh, yeah. I
So
remember
it's
this.
a year old, less than a year
It
old.
was European, right?
It's in the European exhibit,
Yeah.
but it's actually not by a European artist, which is why I was confused. But
Isn't
it's so like, okay, so when you walk into it in the European art exhibit on the left side, I want to say, there's like a big, like a wall, like a partition where it says European art, and there's some, I think it might be like a religious painting that's on under the European art, like the name. And then if you go around, you have to walk around the partition to get to like to enter into the exhibit. On the other side of the partition is this painting, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm. It's the only one in that whole exhibit that looks like that. Everything else kind of stays within its class and genre.
So that's why I was a little confused. It struck me. But so let me continue. It's by Nadine Pierre, born in Leonminster. Let me do this because you told me. Born in Leonminster, Massachusetts in 1989. Active in Brooklyn, New York. Oil on canvas. And it's a contemporary painting. And I thought all the works in European art were all old. So, I mean, that's another preconception about European art. It's all old. So I'm like, all right, enough.
You know, the more we talk about this, the more I realize the DMA is doing a terrible job of grouping that. Like, European art is such a terrible way to, like, it just means anything that was made by a European.
Not in the United States.
Like, this sucks. Like,
outside.
You shouldn't be housing contemporaries and, like, religious commissioned pieces in the same hallway. Like, it was a very standoutish piece. And, like, I like it, but, like, European is such a
but where would you even
blanket.
put this, though? This seems like just American art.
I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
So I didn't even read the description, so we're going to discover it together.
Cool.
This painting by contemporary artist Nadine Pierre rearticulates art historical aspects of devotional painting to present personal and communal manifestations of fantasy and the longing for tenderness. Oh, I remember reading this. Yeah, I liked it. Too Much Not Enough signals the expressiveness of black femmehood, the artist's protagonist who recurs throughout her I don't know how to pronounce this word.
Spell it.
It's spelled Oeuvre.
Uvo.
Uvo?
Maybe. Sounds like a French word.
I can't wait to find out how wrong I am. I'm excited. I actually look forward to it.
Here is Google Translate lady saying it.
Ouvre.
Okay, thanks, lady.
I want to hear it. I didn't get to hear it.
Listen to the podcast.
That's going to be added in post. What about now?
Post is a magical realm that you'll never get to visit.
Oh, man. Okay, so the artist protagonist who recurs through her
Ouvre
is depicted here at the center. Her purple form, enfolded by winged figures. Contemplative and comforting, the scene speaks to a desire to build new worlds in the elsewhere. Pierre imagines the possibilities of the infinite, pressing against historical boundaries to offer liberation and escape. So, right, it's kind of summing up all the thoughts I had when I saw it. What is this doing here? Why does it look unfinished? Why is there a black woman in a painting in the European art section? Why is this painted by a woman? So many things. I think it's probably exactly why they put it at the back, like not the back, but like in the back facing portion of the partition entering into the European art exhibit, you know? I just don't understand why that exhibit and not the American exhibit, but everything else, I would say.
I think it's because, like, for it being a New York active piece, you definitely see some European influences in it. Like, just the evangelical, like, angle of it. It looks like a Jesus Christ rising photo.
It's meant to be, I think. Yeah.
You know, it has that sort of, like, feel to it.
It's meant to be, but is that enough to be like, oh, it's influenced by European art, let's put it in the exhibit? You know what
was on the other side of that exhibit as well? Like, the more modern, like, I don't know what that section is called, but the Picasso was in that section. So I think the fact that this was in the partition between those sections kind of like modern contemporary.
So that's my honorable mention. I thought that the backstory was interesting. I like that it's a story about tenderness, and it's a story about self-expression and belonging to yourself, and the experience of a black woman, which I don't think is shown enough. So yeah, hats off to that one. I mean, it was my number one, but I think I was just giving that. I really like the painting, and it doesn't personally affect me, but I would not remove it from the art museum. Does that make sense? Like it does deserve a spot there, but it doesn't.
It's not your number one.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
But I respect it enough to be like, this is a unique piece, and it deserves a mention for sure.
Like it kind of reminded me of Shamir, this one artist that's like that. They have this one song On My Own that kind of has the same sort of vibe of like feelings of yourself and being on your own and stuff like that.
We should take a listen to it.
Howdy, this is Spencer from the future, just coming in to say I was super wrong when I said this. The vibes are not similar on these two things. Shamir's song is actually like a polar opposite to the painting. Like it's about how they don't need anybody and how they don't mind living on their own. But I was just so catastrophically wrong here that I had to leave it in.
There was a clip. All right, cool. It's weird in the moment when
Post is awesome.
Here. Yeah, Post is really cool.
Thanks,
you can do a lot of
Post.
stuff with Post.
Here's
an air horn.
So,
yeah.
So what's your honorable mention? Let's move on.
Huh? No, go to your number one. Then I'll do my honorable mention.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's what I had. So I'm doing it.
Okay. So my number one is drum roll, please. Thank you. So the name of my art is called. We actually ran back around the slip and slide exhibit.
Slip zone.
What's it called? The
slip zone.
See, you messed me up, and now I'm messing up. So this was in the slip zone exhibit. Also a large piece, standing vertically, very tall, and it's called Mojo Working.
Oh,
and it's a beautiful piece.
Number one,
it's it's my number one. It was beautiful. I mean, I sat and looked. I looked at it for a really long time, and I took lots of pictures of it. It was made in 1966 by Jules Olitsky, born in Snovsk, Russia, in 1922, and died in New York in 2007. It's an acrylic on canvas, and I really like it because it actually has an accompanying soundtrack that inspired the name of the piece and the painting, obviously, called Muddy Waters, Got My Mojo Workin'. So it's the name of the song is Got My Mojo Workin' by Muddy Waters. So can we put a clip in?
Here it is.
Got my mojo, got my mojo, got my mojo, got my mojo, got my mojo working, but just don't worry, don't you?
I love that song.
We actually grew up listening to a lot of that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, my dad loved Muddy Waters.
Yeah, Muddy Waters, just Chicago blues and Louisiana blues and that type of stuff. That was kind of like what we grew up like learning to play. You on bass, me on piano, so we do have a connection to it.
Sentimental.
Yeah.
And also just a beautiful painting. So take a look at that, and I think it'll be up on the screen. The painting will be up on the screen, and you can just listen to that sample of the song and kind of get a feel for what the artist was thinking while they painted it. So not much to say about that. No description other than that. That's my number one. Mojo Workin'.
I'm surprised. I mean, that's a really good pick. I'm glad you mentioned it. I thought you would have put. I have one in here that I remember seeing you like, and I was kind of surprised you didn't add it. Violet Red on Gray. Do you remember that one?
Is it like all black and there's like a little
like
piece
little
of
red in the middle, kind of like.
I actually was gonna include that.
Yeah.
I was gonna include that, but then I didn't because I put number 4 in, and I might regret that decision. But
I guess I'll make that one.
You just honorably mentioned it right now. So.
Violet Red on Gray, Jose, and Jose Antonio Fernandez Muro.
You'll put it up on
Oh,
the
okay,
screen.
Yeah, I'll just put it on for a quick
So
second.
this is like a little sneaking in,
Yeah.
not really part of the
It
curriculum.
is intention. It's a very just cool looking painting.
Yeah,
it's
it's
one of those
cool.
that you would see like at a jazz bar.
Also, again, in person is so much better because
Oh, yeah.
pictures don't do it justice at all. The colors are insane.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right. So let's hear your honorable mention.
My honorable mention was Tired.
Was it really? You
Okay,
lied to me.
No. It was Tired, and it was Woman at Her Toilet, whatever.
You loved the series of women on their toilets for some reason. Which should I be concerned?
No, because this is an actual toilet, so we don't have to talk about that.
She was at her toilet.
Toilet. In French, that means just like her dressing room or something like that.
Toilet.
Anyways, I mean, both paintings are very beautiful, and they both deserve discussion. But I'm putting them here at my honorable mention because they were right next to each other, and I thought that was like the museum kind of playing like a bit of a joke placement wise. Because one of them is just this woman slumped over on a table, like you don't even get to see her face. Like, and right next to it is this like very gorgeous painting of this woman kind of like brushing her hair in this decadently painted, like, I don't know, I guess it's her toilet, her like her sitting room, her dressing room or whatever. I just thought it was really funny. So funny, haha. This is what smart people laugh at.
I'm still here. I'm just drinking,
Art
and I don't want it
placements.
to pick up on the mic.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm just talking. Anyways, yeah, that was my honorable mention. Oh, I had one more.
Wait, I didn't know we were allowed to. I thought we were supposed to have only one honorable mention.
No, I mean I'm only talking about them for like 2 seconds.
All right, go ahead.
The Arthropod by Tatsuo Ikeda.
Do you have a picture? I want to see.
You remember this funny little creature, this little guy,
Oh, creepy
spooky
dude,
little
man.
guy.
Creepy
I follow
as
a lot
hell.
of a lot of horror artists on Twitter, and they all make very cool looking dudes. And this feels like something I would see on my dashboard, so I kind of liked it. Kind of gross, but I liked it. Don't laugh at me. I appreciate art. Do you even know what art is?
No.
Because this is what art is. Number one, Crepúsculo, or Twilight. By.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. So that's your number
This
one?
is my number one.
Oh, okay. You didn't give enough of a forerunning. I mean, I had
Yeah.
a drum roll and everything.
Well, it's because I saw.
You can ask me for a drum roll. I'll
saw
give it to you.
No, I'm fine. I already announced it.
Okay, drum roll, please.
I just saw. Stop it. It's because I saw the transition where I made a really bad joke, and I was like, I'm going for it. Anyways, man, I should have had a pause before this. Crepúsculo, by 1965, by David Alfaro Siqueiros. Private Luxon and acrylic on panel. It's okay. Man, I need to pick. Okay. All right. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, Crepúsculo. I found a picture of it. Twilight. I just love the Twilight movies so much. Like Edward and Bella, and like the relationship they have, where Edward is a creepy vampire.
Where is this going?
I tried to Google the picture, and like pictures of Twilight kept popping up.
Oh
And I was
my
getting
gosh.
very pissed off. And I was like, I don't care about this stupid movie. Okay. Edward doesn't even care about himself. He hates those movies more than anybody. Anyways,
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, he hates those movies. But that's okay. He did The Lighthouse, and now he's an artist again. Anyways, The Twilight by David Alfaro Siqueiros. I've said him like 3 times now. It's a very... it's a really pretty painting.
Flip it around so I can see. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a really beautiful expressionist painting. This is one where the strokes and textures are so intense. You can just kind of see the brush strokes just from looking at a digital painting of this. Like, seeing them in real life just adds so much to it, but like even you can still sort of appreciate it even from this picture. Part of why I like this so much is just like it reminds me of this game that I've loved so much called Disco Elysium, where your emotions and like stats are kind of represented through this sort of like expressionist style, and it just, I don't know, I think that's the type of art I like the most, where you're just trying to represent concepts and ideas through techniques in art rather than like trying to recreate or trying to get too far with it by just putting some bells in a room and telling people to be art and be experiences. Like, this is kind of the perfect intersection of just conceptual and still very real, you know? Like, I like this a lot. The colors, the brush strokes, like, I don't know. this is the kind of tough thing when
It's very you.
it is. This is the kind of hard thing for me whenever it comes to things I really like. It's hard to talk about them. This has been the problem every time I've done this podcast.
That's okay. Art has personal meanings for all of us.
This is true. It's just, I just don't want to sound too pretentious when I'm talking about this thing.
This is pretentious free zone. You can be as pretentious as you like.
This is the most pretentious podcast I've ever done, but it's fine. I don't mind. I've come to terms with it. Regardless.
Does that mean you think I'm pretentious?
Maybe.
We've never talked about this.
I've never talked about it. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't really call you pretentious.
We're gonna fight in about 5 minutes. I can just feel it.
Maybe I would call you pretentious. I don't know. I've been too focused on myself.
I like that. That's the vibe for 2022.
Nihilism, not nihilism.
Nihilism.
Nihilism is when you hate everything or think
Oh.
everything it doesn't matter. What's the thing where you're self-absorbed, or you're just pursuing pleasure?
You talking about narcissism?
Narcissism.
I was
Yeah.
like, he can't possibly mean narcissism because that's kind of the easiest word to remember.
Apparently not.
Yeah. My
Whatever.
bad. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. This feels like a more aesthetically pleasing Pollock. You know, that's about as best as I can say for this thing. This is something I would want to have a recreation of because I feel like just a
It's
print
too
wouldn't do it
violent.
justice.
I'm not
I
allowing
love it a lot. It is very explosive with just like the colors and like the brushstrokes. I keep talking about the brushstrokes. The brushstrokes are very important. Okay, I don't think you understand. Like you can see it.
He likes it a
art.
lot. What else is there to say? Come on.
That's it, really.
Well,
There's not a lot of history to this thing.
well, it's beautiful. So
Yeah,
that's
David
that.
Alfaro Siqueiros, he's a Mexican, died in 1974, 1896. He's a very old man.
Once again, the intro is at the end.
Hmm.
You gave the stats at the end.
Oh yeah, because I care about the background the least, because you don't go into art knowing what the history.
That's
is
true.
going to
That's
be.
true.
Art is mostly, and that's what when I look at art, I'm looking for more of what my gut reaction is going to be when I first see it, and anything that comes out after the fact, like whatever I learned, that's supplementary. Like I can enjoy art based on its history, but generally speaking, when I look at art, I just want it to be something that anybody can sort of appreciate. You know, not because I know the specifics of a specific Italian Spanish family and their socioeconomic status in like the turn of the century. You know, like that's not that impressive to me. The stuff where people try to express emotions and concepts and thoughts and just stuff like that. You know, when people try to paint how music makes them feel, when people paint a sunrise but use such abstract like ways of doing it like this, like that's what I like about art. That's what makes art cool. You know, not hyper realism, although that can be cool in its own respect, but it's not. That's not what's impressive about it. It's impressive on a very technical level, but that's a boring way of looking at art. I like art just looking at it and being like, this makes me feel warm. You know, doesn't need to be any deeper or cerebral than that.
And I think that's a beautiful way to end this episode. Unless you have anything else to say.
No, that's it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally were able to do this. We've been trying to do this for a while, but like, I really wanted to get this equipment before we did it. So
The equipment is really cool. We're professional podcasters now.
watch out, Joe Rogan.
Tune in for next episode where we have our first sponsor.
Oh yeah, we're finally gonna get Raid Shadow Legends and the one underwear company that everybody gets sponsored by.
Fruit of the Loom.
Fruit of the Loom. That's not it. Do you have any plugs you want to do, like your art or your Instagram or something?
No, I like to keep it private.
Man, I don't know why I keep including that. I don't think anybody's ever bit that.
Really?
I one podcast I listen to does it, and so I just thought it'd be a good thing to do.
Should I? I mean, I
If you
don't.
want to, I don't care. Either way.
Since nobody else has, I guess I should, but
you
nah,
want to.
I won't. I like to keep it
Yeah.
private. I like to keep
It is a
low-key.
podcast among friends, so I guess it is better to keep it low key.
I mean, I like your friends. What's up, guys?
You hate my friends.
No, what are you talking about? I love your
You
friends.
hate Ethan.
Don't say that he's gonna hear this. Cut that out. Cut that out.
I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make that silence between us whenever I said Ethan. Like I'm gonna make that bass boosted just to really emphasize.
I'm gonna report this podcast on Spotify for violence.
Hey, Mr. Spotify, don't sue me. Okay.
And on that note,
Okay, bye.
I want to leave you with this memory of me.
Are you trying to break my microphone?
Are microphones waterproof?
Let me stop this.